It wasn't just about design for me. It was about performing an act of duty towards what my ancestors had built, towards something that has been in my family since generations. The New English School Trust was my grandfather's brainchild, an educational trust that offered the students of Vasad and nearby villages and towns an opportunity for quality education. SVIT falls under this umbrella of the New English School Trust. What you need to understand is, Vasad was a small town. I was raised to pursue education from faraway institutes because we could not get that quality education in our hometown. It seemed like an ordeal at that time. I used to wake up at 5 a.m. just to read school in Vadodara, and this was when I was still in pre-primary. Seems far-fetched, doesn't it? But it's all true. Growing up, I have stayed more in hostels and spent more time traveling to get to my schools than what the average student would have to do. But having a school and then an institute that offered opportunities for higher education right at our doorstep. So you see, getting to design this institute was more than just a project for me. It was a way of giving back to the efforts of my family, a way to play my part and contribute to this magnificent institute. But the funny part is, I was not set on this ambition. I was invited by the then managing board of directors to give my proposal for this building. There were only 3 requirements. 1, the council guidelines needed to be followed. 2, the building needed to be sustainable. And 3, the look, feel, and function of the original campus cannot be changed. To tell you more about the design, firstly, I would like to show you the surroundings. As you might be able to see, this building was built on a dried up riverbed. So, there was not much inspiration to be gathered from the surroundings, except for this water body right here. But, unfortunately, that did not fall under the site area allotted to our team. However, the existing workshop and the other buildings of the institute had already paved a way for showing how this new building could fit into the fold and yet stand out. In order for it to seamlessly inflow with the current institute buildings, we decided on using a very neutral material palette. We used exposed bricks and concrete as our base. What we did to make it stand out was to play with the construction techniques and add character via the doors, roofs, slabs, and windows. I had realized early on that though I had to follow the guidelines set for me, the students were the ones who would become the end users of the space. So, we worked on designing the building in a way that facilitates social exchange between students naturally. Our designs ensured that the 3 different courses being offered at the building, Bachelor's and Master's of Architecture, as well as Bachelor's of Interior Design, had their own individual building. However, they were all connected via the common amenities like laboratories, library, canteen, administration offices, workshop, etc. These amenities form the T-junction of the design. Let me also talk about this entrance right here. My design team and I wanted the entry to be emphasized. We worked on various options and came to the conclusion that even though we are creating a separate building for architecture and interior design courses, it still belonged to a large campus that housed other programs. And so, we decided to scale down the entry to this space and emphasize the entry to the building. As you can see, this entrance works as a gateway. It comes up suddenly and forces you to take notice of it. The intention was to make the users aware of their surroundings, to provoke a thought of their entrance into a world of learning. Another important point of the brief for the design was to make it sustainable. Sustainability has been a part of the architecture course for a very long time now, long before Greta Thunberg came and enlightened the world about it. Our designs ensured that the classrooms and workshops were well lit, yet at the same time, we have provided them with stack ventilation that ensures cross ventilation, thereby making them energy efficient. Apart from this, something that might interest you is that the shadows of the building would usually fall on each other. Thereby, we have mutual shading, something that will keep the building cool. The wall sections and pillar slab have been strategically designed. The wall sections are designed such that the protruding boxes are used as storage spaces from the inside, and some of them are used as service ducts. The filler slabs have a dual purpose of insulation and aesthetics. Our design also employs the use of high SRI index mosaics to ensure that the heat is reflected and to provide the building with roof insulation. I entered the competition with nervousness but was thrilled when I was called for the next round of jury. But that was the easy part. I had to gear up for the next phase of the competition because I had to prove my mettle by answering tough questions of managing the project. There were many competitors, but I guess the jury saw my motivation to give back, and that's how I won fair and square. But that was just the beginning of my journey. I had the designs ready, but as the lead architect, I also had to manage people and their expectations. There were not just the guidelines, but also a variety of stakeholders whose varied opinions I had to keep in mind while designing. I hope that when you see the building, you see the love that has gone into designing and constructing every wall and every nook of it. I was a kid when me and my sister used to play house dolls, and she used to focus more on dressing them up, while I would be more inclined towards making the house with cardboard. I still remember I had made a model house when I was about 5 years old and had taped the entire thing with so much tape that there wasn't any surface without tape on it. When my father asked me why I did that, I said I wanted my house to be waterproof. I remember this anecdote today and feel like maybe this was my fate. But I didn't always plan on to becoming an architect. I think being the visual thinker that I am also played a huge part in my success. I could simply imagine what the structure would look like when someone was explaining what they had in mind. And then the journey was all about making that vision a reality. I am an empath and can feel and know what the client really wants, even when it's not described in the brief. I'm courageous and non-negotiable when it comes to the quality of work. I think my old school's motto, truth, trust, and triumph, is etched in my mind ever since childhood and is the base of all the decisions that I take today. I think that's what is oftentimes reflected in my designs as well. I have poured my blood and sweat into making this building, and it is a very fulfilling feeling. One thing I know for sure is, I will take more projects that have a meaning and see them through to the visions that the clients have, because that's my job. And come what may, my family values of integrity, consistency, and resilience are what will always push me to get things done in the best way possible. After all, that's what makes me smile at the end of the day.